China has Shanghai Disneyland, Singapore has Universal Studios, Japan has Tokyo Disney Sea. But what about Thailand? Do we have any internationally acclaimed entertainment outlets? Well, let's find out in this episode of This is Thailand. With traveling restrictions easing up and the Tourism Authority of Thailand placing more attention on bringing back international tourists, the opening date of May 22nd for the latest tourist attraction in the Land of Smiles is very timely. If you haven't heard of the Andamanda Phuket yet, let me tell you, it's certainly the place you want to be if you love water rides, sliders, parades, and Thai performances. The Andamanda Phuket is set to become the leading aquatic adventure experience in Asia. More than just a water park, the Andamanda Phuket will be the largest leisure and entertainment destination in Phuket, covering 58 rai, that's 9.3 hectares of land, comprising a wide range of recreational components, including a Thai heritage-themed water park with 5 separate zones: the Coral World, the Pearl Palace, Emerald Forest, Great Andaman Bay, and Naga Jungle, plus entertainment spaces, retail outlets, and a 300-key internationally branded hotel. What sets this entertainment park apart from other places in Asia is that the Andamanda Phuket really embraces the local Thai culture and community it operates in. Guests at the park will be immersed in the legend of the lost kingdom of the Nagon, an inspirational folktale of struggle, friendship, and ultimate triumph set amid the landscapes and seascapes of the Andaman coast. It's also said to have classical Nang Talung Southern Thai puppet theater performances, a floating market featuring traditionally designed rea got lat boats to promote local communities and crafts, authentic food and beverage outlets, and a stage for regular cultural performances. Wow, that's a lot of fun things in one area. But the most impressive thing about the Andamanda Phuket is that it's spearheaded by Kun Prao Put Liptaphalop, or Kun Prao. She's the executive director of Proud Group and director of Proud Real Estate Public Company Limited. She's one of the youngest female entrepreneurs in Thailand who overlooks luxury and premium residence, as well as leisure and hospitality investments in Hua Hin, Phuket, and Bangkok, under the concept of transcending experiences. And I was very fortunate to sit down and have a quick chat with her. สวัสดีค่ะคุณพราว First of all, thank you very much for having us here to talk about your latest and possibly one of the hottest launches in Thailand in 2022, the Andaman Phuket water park. Now, but before that, I would like to learn a little bit more about your business concept, transcending expectations. Can you expound on that?
Well, I think it's always been my goal to actually offer a very unique experience for the travelers. You know, I don't believe in doing something which is already being done in the market. My goal is to do things that is better and more unique, finding that gap within the market, something that, you know, people still want but not available at the moment. And I think that's one of the reasons why we started with the water park. Before we started with Bay and Naga in Hua Hin, there has never been a water park in Thailand before. And, you know, it brings me such joy to see people getting excited, like yourself talking about the water park and, you know, seeing kids running around and say, look, I want to go on that slide.
Yes, that's great. And I also want to ask you, in terms of more and more excitement, what can we expect differently from this water park that might not have been done in existing water parks before?
I think the water park industry has changed quite a bit over the past, say, 5 to 7 years. You know, back when we first opened Bay and Naga in Hua Hin, there weren't that many water parks, actually not just in Thailand, but also in Asia. You know, people at the time, the focus was more on the rides itself, you know, having the most exciting rides, having the tallest, the longest, the fastest. But as consumers becoming more, you know, sophisticated, I think they're looking a little bit for a little bit more authentic experience, not just the slides that, to be honest, you can find in other places, but how do you integrate the local culture into that water park experience? Like Andamanda Phuket, we actually integrated Thai mythologies into that. We have, you know, highlights of the Andaman Bay of Phuket. We have, for example, replicated the James Bond Island into the place. We have 3 meters wave. You know, we have characters that will also come out and say hi to everyone. We have a floating market inside. So it's not just a water park, but really it's more of, about the best in Phuket all in one place.
Wow, a one-stop shop for Phuket. Just go to Andaman Water Park. Brilliant. And I also want to ask you, when we talk about entertainment outlets, there could be museums, or sometimes I think about theme parks. But for you, what was the deciding factor that you chose? It has to be water park specifically.
Well, I think for me, I'm a water lover. Diving is my passion, so I've always been a big fan of water. And also, I think, like other people in my generation, I tend to swing between the two extremes. On the one extreme is, of course, your luxury travel, your luxury hotels, having nice bed, nice food. But then at the same time, looking for more of that adventurous experience. And I think sometimes, actually, for most people, outdoor adventures are not always possible. They tend to take a little bit longer with a lot more planning. I think water parks just sit nicely in that space where you get that adrenaline, but without having to trek 4 hours.
I like that. It's the best of both worlds.
Absolutely.
And I want to just switch gears just a very little bit. So, in the developer scene, in the real estate property, it's a very male-heavy industry. Now, somebody must have guided you here. Can you tell me a little bit about who and how did your role models shape you or guide you to where you are today?
I think, on two sides or two role model. I think on the personal side, it has to be my grandmother. She was literally, the iron lady. She started off the construction business when she was only about 16 with my grandfather. And then she literally built up everything, while raising 5 kids at the same time. But I think, Thailand has been so unique in that we have many female executives leading up the development companies. One particular role model, and I've had a chance to work with her briefly, is Kun Supalak, part of the Mall Group. I think she's such a visionary lady, and she's not afraid to start something new and to do something different.
She's actually my role model too, so that's great. We have something in common. Okay, and the last question I want to ask you is that being a young female entrepreneur yourself, can you share any tips for our young female entrepreneurs listeners here?
Well, I think, first of all, it's important to realize that you're not different to anyone. Actually, I think in that sense, my advice goes to all entrepreneurs. I don't believe there are any limits to what a female can do. And I think in some ways we actually do it better than the men. I think, it's just sort of putting yourself out there and not limiting yourself by thinking that, I'm a woman. Actually, if anything, that should encourage you to do more. But also, when if anything happens, I think it's also important to seek out, to have that confidente and to also have a support group that you can always rely on. And that doesn't have to be, any female association. It can be, but it could also just be your family and your friends.
I love that answer. Kun Prao, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you parted on a lot of great insights for us all, and I'm very excited to finally visit your property very, very soon.
I'll see you in Phuket, Kunati.
Yes. Thank you very much, Naka. สวัสดีค่ะ